Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to compare the specs and features of the Moto G to the Google Nexus 5. First of all, I'm going to start off with the display. We have a 4.5-inch display on the Moto G versus a 5.0-inch display on the Google Nexus 5. In terms of the resolution, both devices have a very good screen, but the Google Nexus 5 is actually a lot more higher screen. We have a 1080p HD display on the Nexus 5 versus 720p display on the Moto G. And in terms of the pixel density, we have 329 ppi versus 445 ppi, almost 100 more ppi on the Nexus 5. And also both screens are made up of IPS LCD technology. In terms of the software, the Google Nexus 5 comes with the latest Android version, Android 4.4.2 KitKat, of course, the Nexus device, whereas the Moto G comes with Android 4.3 right out of the box and can be updated to the Android 4.4 KitKat. In terms of the weight, despite having a smaller screen than the Nexus 5, the Moto G is actually heavier than the Nexus 5 at about 143 gram versus 130 gram on the Nexus 5. In terms of the thickness, the Moto G is actually thicker than the Nexus 5 at about 11.6mm versus 8.59mm on the Google Nexus 5. In terms of the processor, we have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor on the Moto G versus Qualcomm Snapdragon 800 processor on the Nexus 5. Basically, the Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 processor is a quad-core one clocked at 1.2 GHz versus a quad-core 2.2 GHz on the Nexus 5. In terms of the GPU, we have Adreno 305 GPU on the Moto G versus Adreno 330 GPU on the Nexus 5. And in terms of the RAM, we have 1GB RAM on the Moto G, which is DDR2, whereas we get 2GB of RAM of DDR3 on the Nexus 5. Looking at the storage on both devices, we got 8GB storage on the Moto G versus 16GB storage on the Nexus 5, whereas there's also a 32GB variant of the Nexus 5. Looking at the battery capacity, we get 2070 mAh battery on the Moto G versus a 2300 mAh battery on the Nexus 5. In terms of the camera, we get 5MP camera with LED flash on the Moto G versus 8MP camera with LED flash on the Nexus 5. And both cameras can record 720p HD video at 30 frames per second. However, the Nexus 5 can record a 1080p video at 30 frames per second. And also, the camera on the Nexus 5 is an optical image stabilization camera, whereas the camera on the Moto G has only digital image stabilization. Whereas in terms of the front-facing camera, we get 1.3 megapixel on the Moto G versus 1.3 megapixel on the Nexus 5, and both are capable of recording 720p video at 30 frames per second. In terms of the price, the Moto G is available for $179 versus $349 on the Nexus 5. So in terms of the price point, both devices are pretty cheap as compared to Apple. And of course, if you want to get a low-cost Android phone with the fairly good specs, then you can get Moto G for $179. It's a pretty cheap phone. And if you want to go higher, if you want to get more specs like Snapdragon 800 processor, better camera, better design, then you can get the Nexus 5 for $349. So there you go, guys. That was my review of the specs between the Google Nexus 5 versus the Moto G. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you do, then please give this video a thumbs up. And if you have any questions, then feel free to comment down below, and I will see you in my next video. Peace out.